affectionate remembrance of English cricket, which died at the Oval on the 29th of August, 1882, deeply lamented by a large circle of sorrowing friends and acquaintances. Rest in peace. The body will be cremated and the ashes taken to Australia.
Hello, welcome to Nine's Wide World of Sports and the highlights of the opening day of this Test match at the Gabba, the second in the Ashes series of 1982-83. Problems for the Australians. They have two of their main bowlers out, Alderman injured in that Perth match, and Dennis Lillee forced to withdraw from this second Test match in a medical examination during the week. Tony Greig is out in the centre now. It's a sweltering day here at the Gabba, a top temperature promised later on of 33 degrees.
Thank you, Richie. Well, all eyes are on the pitch, and looking at it myself, I think it looks absolutely superb, although it could be just a little bit deceptive. Let's have a close look at it. First of all, look at the surface. It's as flat as a tack out there, really beautiful, and there's some green grass woven in amongst a lot of grass clippings. Now, have a look at all that. You know, all of that's been rolled into the top of the surface, and there's clearly quite a little bit of moisture underneath that surface, although the hot sun has perhaps disguised the top a little bit, and that is measured by this instrument. Have a look at that. Registering 80, and that is more moisture in the surface than there was over in Perth. Remember, it was 79 over in Perth at the start of the Test match over there, and the captain who won the toss put the other side in largely because he thought that the surface was damp enough to cause the batting side a few problems. Well, that's the situation in terms of the pitch. Let's have a look at the weather wall. And the wind direction there, one of a northeasterly direction, and really gusting a little bit, as you can see from the wind speed, up to about 15 at times, and then dropping back as it is there to about 10. Not really much, but it seems to be gathering a little bit of momentum. The air temperature, that's 29, almost 30, so it's very warm out here. Very warm indeed, especially when the wind drops. The humidity, well, that's now up to 45. You can see that's, in fact, 46 at the moment. And that's very humid out in the middle. The players' comfort or stress level, well, that's about as high as I've seen it, up to 38, and that's the temperature we take without the effect of the coolish breeze. And so it's going to be very warm for the players, and the barometric reading 1,010. So all in all, pretty warm conditions out in the middle. My prediction, the captain who wins the toss will in fact bat first, but the batting side is going to have a fair few problems early on because there's a fair bit of moisture underneath this surface. Back to you, Richie Benner.
Thanks, Tony. Well, I had a look at that pitch a little earlier in the day. It looks to me to be a beauty. I'm sure there'll be some life in it in the first session of play, but after that it'll be a batsman's paradise. Here's Ian Chappell now. He's out in the centre with the two captains.
Greg Chappell, no Lillee, no Alderman. How do you make up for those two missing?
Well, we've got a couple of very good replacements. I think we're fortunate that Jeff Thompson has a lot of experience in Test cricket, and Carl Rackerman's bowling at the top of his form. So whilst it's disappointing to lose two very fine bowlers like that, I think we're very fortunate to have the other guys backing up and to be bowling well.
OK, let's hope it's a good game.
Thank you.
Bob, batting first, any worries about the track?
A few, yes, I have. But I think we'll do a fair bit this morning. I'd have definitely fielded had I won the toss.
Right.
Sorry, we'll get by though.
Yeah. And any worries about the third seam bowling position?
Well, we've gone for Norman Cowans, who we feel has got the pace to get a bit more penetration than Derek Pringle. And hopefully we'll be bowling last, and our spinners might come into their own.
OK, let's hope it's a good game.
Yeah, sure it will be.
OK, there we are, Greg Chappell winning the toss and sending England into bat. Now it's back to Richie Benner.
So Bob Willis would have done exactly the same thing. It'll be interesting now to see what happens to the gamble made by Greg Chappell. Quick look now at the two teams. The England side with Jeff Cook out and Graham Fowler in. Jeff Cook had to withdraw this morning, the morning of the match, where unfortunately he was hit in the ribs yesterday by Ian Botham in the practice nets, and he's out, Graham Fowler in, and the Australians have made Greg Ritchie 12th man once again. Pity for him, but he'll be in the side later on. Here's Jeff Lawson now bowling to Chris Tavares. No runs on the board, and your commentators are Ian Chappell and Keith Stackpole.
Wouldn't be surprised if there's a big sale of Chris Tavares dolls around Australia, with people sticking pins in them and that, and hoping that might get him out. But did a pretty good job over there for England. Occupied the crease a long time. Blunted the Australian bowlers.
That's a much better delivery. There's a big shout. The Australians very confident, but no is the reply from umpire Mel Johnson. Very confident shout there from the Australians.
Oh, a difficult decision first up for Mel Johnson. Chris Tavares playing a long way from his body. And the Australians very confident. And that's the spot where Jeff Lawson's got to be, trying to drag Tavares onto that front foot. But just look how he goes after it. No real movement of the feet.
Lawson to Graham Fowler.
It's a good shot. Oh, well caught. Great catch there by Yardley. And that's what happens when you're in a slump. Someone just plucks one out of the air.
And certainly a great catch by Bruce Yardley, and I'm also equally certain, Ian, that Bruce Yardley did not see that. It was just pure reflex, not a bad shot, except it was in the air, and Bruce Yardley going down, and I'm certain lost it for a brief moment, thrust up the right hand, and you wouldn't believe it, it stuck. Hit pretty crisply, was short, and there it goes, straight into that right duke of Bruce Yardley. Certainly a man you find difficult to keep out of the game. And the end of Fowler, he's out for 7, and first blood to Lawson. England 1 for 8.
Is this the way you see gloss painting? Messy rags, terps? It is? Then forget it. British Paints have developed a totally different concept in gloss paint. It's called New Gloss. New Gloss is 100% acrylic enamel, which means you get all the gloss you love, plus brushes and rollers just wash out in water. That's New Gloss. Brushes on easier, dries in a fraction of the time of a conventional enamel. Makes gloss painting so much easier. Trust British Paints? Sure can.
Before the sun goes down, before it sets tonight, you better get a Peter's afternoon delight. Eggnog and butterscotch ice cream. Nice. Biscuit crumbs and chocolate to whet your appetite. Ooh, what is delight. Afternoon delight.
Before the sun goes down, taste this new delight from Peter's.
Peter's afternoon delight.
Every Monday for the past 15 years, Silvio Massola closed his Ampol workshop and stepped into another world, where lunch was leisurely and conversation was of cars built by hand. Most of the big names in motoring have shared his table and his expertise with fine machinery. Sadly, a new highway has closed his service station, but Silvio Massola, car enthusiast, raconteur, Ampol dealer, continues on. He does more than sell petrol. 'Twas Major William Grant's conviction that to create a really smooth Scotch, it required the right altitude, believing the essence of smoothness is formed high over the Highlands, where nature makes a water unique in the world, like the crystal clear waters from the fresh melting snow of the Cornwall Hills, which have fed the family's distillery since 1887. From high in the Highland Springs, the smooth Grants, since 1887.
Saturday at 6:30, climb the queen of them all, the Matterhorn, the North Face, a breathtaking special. At 7:30, a tough assignment for Buck.
The prospect of meeting the perfect woman is fascinating.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century. At 8:30,
I don't want this picture to end up a memorial to Colt Seavers.
Lee Majors takes on just about anything. That's why he's the fall guy. Followed at 9:30
Nobody
by
pushes me into taking a case.
the grime behind the glamour in Vegas. Exciting viewing Saturday on 9.
England are struggling at 1 for 10, and David Gower now faces Jeff Lawson.
And it's, oh, he's dropped him. Straight in there to Jeff Thompson at leg slip and straight down.
Oh, that's the spot they've been aiming for, leg stump. Seemed to stick in Jeff Thompson's hand, clipped beautifully straight into the mid-drift. Thompson seemed to have it, was about to throw it up, and out it popped.
Jeff Lawson has really got on target. Bowled particularly well. He's got 1 wicket. A bit unfortunate that he hasn't already picked up 2. It's a good delivery, a great catch. Tremendous catch there by Kim Hughes at third slip. And Tavares is on his way, and that's the man the Australians wanted. They're very excited about that.
That one didn't go down, went into the safe hands of Kim Hughes, but well bowled by Jeff Lawson. Kept the ball up, kept it further up, and that ball just carrying through to Kim Hughes, certainly 8 inches high by the time it reached him, but was on the way down. And that's another great breakthrough. This for Australia, and a very good over by Jeff Lawson, and England now 2 for 13.
Here's Rackerman now bowling to Lamb. Very nearly had his first test match victim. 2 for 14. Rackerman to Gar. Safely away in the gap between third slip and the first of the gullies. At catchable height, but just too far away from that man at third slip, Kim Hughes. He's already taken a great catch, and it's now 2 for 22. Jeff Thompson. Oh, what bowl.
Well, that must have been very close indeed. That almost got through. I suggest that Lamb there just got a thin inside edge onto his pads. Otherwise, Lamb might have been marching back to the pavilion for a different reason. He might have been LBW. Thin edge there onto the pad, I think. Good ball there.
This fellow Rackerman, he's made the ball bounce quite high. That's a beautiful shot from Alan Lamb. That's the best shot of the morning for me. 4 runs immediately left the bat. That's Alan Lamb. This is the type of shot he likes to play. He's hit that ball on the up, through the gap. Australia attacking fields, and that's 4 runs. That's a beautiful shot. But I'm quite impressed with this boy, Rackerman, today. I watched him a couple of years ago. He's improved immensely. I think he's cut his run down. He's not trying to bowl quite as quick, and he's using his full height.
Yardley to Alan Lamb.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot, straight down the ground, high in the air, down towards mid-wicket, 1 bounce and into the fence. And so a beautiful shot that by Alan Lamb. He's very strong on the onside, and he's decided to try and move some of these fieldsmen that are all clustered around him. And his way of doing that is to hit it a long way in the air down the ground.
Using the feet beautifully, getting right to the pitch of it and hitting it over that infield. And that has made Greg Chappell bring a man out right onto the fence. And I think that's David Hooks that's gone out there. And he's found the gap again on the onside. He's very strong on the onside. We'll see if this ball goes for 4. I think this one's just going to get there, or is it? Just made it. Ooh, the ball did slow up on that outfield on the left-hand side there. And he struck that ball pretty well, and that's his second 4 on consecutive deliveries, finding the gap there. The ball just making it to the boundary. That's another 4 for Alan Lamb.
Lawson to Gar.
Oh, beautiful shot. On the up and off the back foot, smashed away through extra cover for 4. So Gar beginning to loosen up just a little out there now. That really wasn't a half volley. All he did was flay it away off the back foot.
Just a bit short outside the off stump. David Gower right over the top of it, hitting that ball down. And he hit that ball very hard. That raced across this outfield. For 4 runs, fielder no chance. And that's as good a shot as we've seen all day from David Gower. He's moved on to 18 now.
Lawson to Gower.
He's gone, he's caught him, he's out. Well, they've placed the trap, they've thought about that one, and it's worked for them. What a vital breakthrough that was for the Australians. David Gower flicking at a ball down the leg side. Kepler Wessels in that position at leg slip, latching onto a fine catch.
Yes, they've certainly played that all morning, and Wessels taking it at the second attempt, and that's his first catch in Test cricket. So he'll be feeling very happy about that, and David Gower must be very, very upset at getting out the last ball before lunch. But for me, the Australians have played on that weakness all morning, and here we can see it again. He was dropped in this position this morning by Jeff Thomson. Wessels just getting one hand to that ball, knocking it up, and that's England's third wicket gone, and that is a bit drastic for England to lose David Gower the last ball before lunch.
It began with an idea, but ideas need technology to make them work. Sharp have brilliant ideas plus the technology to create advanced business computers that are a positive aid to your efficiency, to create copiers with two-stage reduction that actually speak.
Check the paper size.
Australian business has really taken to Sharp. The reason? Ideas and technology that work. Sharp, we put you a step ahead.
Metropolitan's cash card, deposit, withdraw, check your balance 7 days a week. Up to $500 a day. Ask about it. It's easy. Cash card service, quicker over-the-counter too, at any Metropolitan branch. One high rate of interest on as little as $1. Right, Michelle?
Just ask us.
Ask us about Metropolitan's Passbook account for steady savings. Cash card for fast, easy access.
Please ask us.
There are times when you've got stock that's got to be moved quickly.
Especially with a backlog after a holiday. Budget truck rentals are the solution. We have every truck you could want, from simple utilities to large prime movers, all at the rates you expect from Budget. What's more, we can supply most trucks almost immediately. Whether you need to supplement your fleet or get immediate replacements for breakdowns, Budget truck rentals drive your dollar further.
It's the most refreshing way to make the most of every day. And wherever you go or whatever you do, a big taste is right there for you. Coca-Cola is it. Coca-Cola always around. Coke is it. The real thing never lets you down. Coke is it. The most refreshing taste you've found. Coke is it. Coca-Cola is it.
This week, more highlights from 60 Minutes, including the Spatchurst family. They hated Australia so much, they flew back to England, to an uncertain future and a tongue-lashing.
They'd come back to disaster.
A convicted rapist. He's attacked 11 times and wants to teach hitchhikers a lesson. For some girls, it's a lesson learned too late.
Some of them expected it as almost a payment for the lift.
60 Minutes, brought to you by Australia's BHP, Sunday, 7:30 on 9.
Here's Rackerman now, bowling to Lamb.
Good hook shot from Lamb. Along the ground all the way and crashes into the backward square leg fence. Lamb over the top, 2 bounces into the third man fence.
Here's Ian Botham facing Jeff Lawson from the pavilion end.
It's another one over the top, but very safe. Once again, crashing into the third man boundary.
Botham really hit that. It was a top edge again, but such is the power of this man. It flew straight over the top of the gullies and very quickly down to the fence. Now, I think that's why those 2 gullies have been placed there. I shouldn't be at all surprised if Lawson bowls this type of line consistently. He's hoping for a gully catch, and he's going to be bowling short outside the off stump.
Jeff Lawson now bowling to Alan Lamb.
He follows it up with a cracking square cut. That's the way to answer a fast bowler who gives you one in the midriff. 4 runs to Alan Lamb, takes him along to 48.
Rackerman bowls to Ian Botham.
Any more shots coming from the English batsman? Once again, short delivery being dispatched down the ground by Botham.
He can certainly hit the ball, Botham, and I'm afraid that if the guys don't... we have a look at this again, he just clubs this straight back down the ground. It's a very, very heavy bat that he uses, and the other day, when we were playing at Sheffield Shield, or the match MCC versus WA, Greg Shippard picked up his bat, and he nearly dropped it. He reckons he could do his weight exercises with Botham's bat, so it's well over 3 pounds.
Jeff Thompson coming in with the breeze at his back. Aaron Lamb is taking strike.
That one's up in the air, but it's going to fall safely between Kepler Vessels and Jeff Lawson.
There's that same shot again where he was caught in between. I know I made the statement beforehand, maybe it's not the one to bowl. If you watch it here, he's got almost in that same position again and committed himself and eventually didn't get over the ball and flicked it straight up in the air. But it was safe. It landed between the two fieldsmen.
Both of them facing Jeff Thompson.
You don't want to be in that area. Botham is terribly strong in that area. Another no ball from Thompson. And he can't afford to give him any room outside off stump.
Certainly belts the loose ball, and if we watch here, he doesn't really have to put much into it with that very heavy bat, and the ball sails to the boundary.
That's a great shot from Botham, straight down the ground. Ball pitched up by Thompson on that occasion. 4 runs to Botham, very close to a 6. That's quite a productive over for England. 3 for 111. It's in the air and well over that short fine leg boundary. That's a big 6 from the hook shot.
Well, that just goes to show what you were trying to say earlier, Ian, that the boundaries here at the Gabba are not all that long. And whilst I don't think Botham hit that completely in the middle of the bat, I thought he just ducked his head out of the way at the last moment. Took his eyes off the ball slightly. Just notice how he lowers his head there. But he still got round into the ball, lofted it over that short boundary, and it cleared the fence quite easily.
Jeff Thompson coming in with the breeze at his back. Aaron Lamb is taking strike.
Century crusher there from Jeff Thompson, but that's going down leg side.
It has to, really, because Thompson bowls from a point very wide on the return crease, angles the ball across the right-handed batsman, as you can see, and if the ball pitches in line with the stumps, as that did, about middle and leg, it must, because of the angle, be travelling down the leg side. Although Thompson has the rather disconcerting habit of straightening those up from time to time, bowling a leg cutter, but that one didn't. It was going down the leg side.
Thompson, the man who initiated that term, I think, Stanchu Crusher. Batsman right on the point of the toe with his Yorker. He's driven over the top of Thompson's head, so it's all action with Lamb and Botham at the crease.
This is really an extraordinary phase of the match. 1 minute it seems the batsmen are living dangerously, and the next minute this sort of thing goes on, with Lamb defying Thompson and driving him back over his head. Now that's something that a fast bowler absolutely hates.
England 3 for 141. They really do need a big Ian Botham score to get them right out of trouble. Here's Bruce Yardley. It's beautifully struck. Thompson, the fielder, that was a lovely sweep. Very well timed. Oh, and he's gone. Botham will kick himself for that. Yardley won't. He will be thrilled. Lawson, the man taking the catch, and that was the drifter from Bruce Yardley. It drifted away outside Ian Botham's off stump, and it was very well bowled.
The Sid Chrome Super Test Set.
$130 worth of sockets and accessories for $99. But you'll only score if you're quick.
At the moment, my headache's now more pronounced at the back of the neck than it was up at the front. It seems to run around that perimeter.
Well, we'd like you to try new Tylenol from Johnson & Johnson. It's effective strength paracetamol, and Tylenol brand works fast on headaches without upsetting your stomach.
Right now it's gone. Feels just like not having a headache.
New Tylenol from Johnson & Johnson. Effective strength paracetamol.
Yeah, I'm normal, man. Tylenol worked.
Love to go out dancing with you. Love to go out walking with you. Love, love, all the things that you do. Love to share well, baby, fresh fries. Juicy chicken, hot apple pie, and we love a burger, love a McDonald's. Love a burger, love a McDonald's. We've got it all for you. All the things that you do. We've got it all for you.
Walker comes into the cathedral.
A great bowler, a great batsman, and a great Butterfingers.
G'day. I've never taken a hat trick, but I'll show you a card trick with butter. Read the pack and find out how to get 54 cricket cards in full colour, complete with info on all the Aussies, the Poms and the Kiwis. So follow the action all season with Butter's super cricket card offer, mate. It's the catch of the year.
And the horses race at a furious pace.
Comedy duo, the Beaver Brothers. Join vocalists Aldo Fabian, Johnny One Note, Alan Weston,
And my mother's
Kate Fletcher, Carmelo Sincata, seven-piece group Ash Rose, and acrobatic balancing act Voltaire, all competing in the New Faces Series Final.
Join Bert Sunday night, 6:30 on 9.
With Ian Botham out of the way, England's fortunes rested on the burly shoulders of Alan Lamb. That's a good improvised stroke by Alan Lamb. Didn't bother using his feet, but just reached forward to take it on the full. But any English elation was short-lived. Jeff Lawson now from the pavilion end.
The bouncer is off the glove and he's gone, and that's Marshall's done it. That's the record. A brilliant catch by Rodney Marshall, a fitting one for the occasion too. Rodney Marshall's 300th catch in Test cricket, and he's the first player in the history of Test cricket to reach that landmark. And what a vital one it was too. Lamb out-caught by Marshall for bowling of Lawson. And looking pretty much in control of the whole situation this afternoon, but shorter ball from Jeff Lawson. In fact, I think a slower ball, one that Mrs. Watts did. Alan Lamb a glove, and Rodney Marsh, a catch that'll certainly stay in his mind. Great memory for him, that one. His 300th catch in Test cricket. Any catch down the leg side is always a good catch. But that one, he had to go wide, flung out the glove, and it stuck. And the end of a very good innings from Alan Lamb. Caught Marsh, bowled Lawson. Lawson's fourth wicket for 72 and 5 for 152.
But any English elation was short-lived. Jeff Lawson now from the pavilion end.
Another bouncer, and is this out? Is it? It may be. It's out. It's gone. That's first ball. Miller out. First ball. Another bouncer, gloving the batsman there and stying it up. And have a look at the Australian fieldsmen. They're ecstatic. That one lobbed up in the air. Marsh had to make a few yards back. Not really very difficult, but he made no mistake. And a beautiful first up ball by Jeff Lawson. Short and straight at him. Miller, who caused the Australians problems in Perth, presenting Rodney Marsh with his 301st catch, and Rodney just slipping over, losing his footing, but holding it in those safe hands. And Jeff Miller out for a duck, heads back to the pavilion, and Jeff Lawson now on a hat-trick. And Jeff Lawson is having a marvellous time, 5 for 33, and he's on a hat-trick. The last time a hat-trick was, in fact, occurred in Australia-England matches, Irving Rosenwater tells me, was in 1904. Will it happen again? Fielders all around the bat. Lawson on his way. The crowd cheering. Taylor on straight. Oh, an inside edge and a big appeal for LBW, but a very optimistic one. That was a huge inside edge, and the umpire unmoved. Well, can't get much closer than that. Oh, that's a nice one. The up he goes. Is it out? It might have been a little touch on the glove there, but the umpire not moved. Every Australian in the air. Lawson upset, and Marsh can't believe it. Well, it looks as if the players out there all thought there was a little flick of the glove as the ball went through. Taylor looked as if he'd lost it. I mean, he didn't play a shot. Anyhow, he survived. There was no ball called or anything like that. The Aussies really thought this was out.
There seems to be only 3 players in this game at the moment. Went very close to that edge on the bat, and Rodney Marsh had no doubts about it.
Well caught. Great catch there by Yardley, and that's what happens when you're in a slump.
Cavaray on 1 faces Lawson.
It's a good delivery and a great catch.
Gower made 18.
This morning with a bit of fire and more accuracy.
He's gone, he's got him, he's out. Well, they've placed the trap, they've thought about that one, and it's worked for them. What a vital breakthrough that was.
After lunch, Botham and Lamb attacked.
Once again, the Alan Lamb hook shot. This time it's in the air, but very safe.
They were particularly severe on Thompson.
That's a great shot from Botham, straight down the ground.
But then Yardley struck, Botham out for 40.
Botham will kick himself for that.
Lamb made 72 and became Marsh's 300th Test catch.
That's the record.
Miller faces the very next ball.
Another bouncer, and is this out? Is it? It may be. It's out. It's gone.
Taylor stopped the hat-trick, but only got one and was Rackerman's first Test victim.
Well, it's in the air, and I don't think it was off the glove of 2 of them. Yes, he's given him. He's given him.
Randall blazed away for 37 before this one from Rackerman.
And Jeff Lawson getting under it, right on the boundary. A well-judged catch there by Jeff Lawson.
And the crash continued. Yardley to Willis on 1.
And that's in the air. Jeff Thompson getting under it.
Willis the border.
Well bowled. It's in the air, and he's out.
Greg Chappell received a succession of short pitch deliveries, so decided to go on the attack. But just as Chappell looked set for a great century, he made an uncharacteristic mistake.
Oh, here's trouble. Greg Chappell's going to be run out by yards there. Jeff Miller doing a good piece of fielding. And Greg Chappell very annoyed with himself.
Botham to Hughes.
And that's an edge. Hughes is on his way.
David Hooks took 15 runs off 1 over from Botham.
Bouncer, top edge from Hooks. Good shot on this occasion from Hooks.
But then Jeff Miller had him caught behind.
Once again.
Kepler Vessels, though, were still holding out the England attack.
Beautiful timing. Delightful stroke that.
Willis to Vessels.
He's played some lovely shots today, Kepler Vessels, but that certainly is one of the best.
There it is. Shaw pulls it forward and square. Well played, Kepler Vessels. The pressure finally off of this young man. A tremendous innings under tremendous pressure in front of his home crowd at the Gabba.
And so Kepler Vessels into the... And Chappell had another chance at it there, but that would have been very lucky. Well, a let-off there for David Gower. A sharp chance. Hughes puts it down. And that really was a vital catch for both teams.
David Gower nowhere near that ball, really the bat away from his body. Very fortunate to get away with this. He also seemed a little bit late on it. That's good fortune for England. Instead of losing a wicket, they gain a run.
A life for David Gower there, and Graham Fowler, who's been having something of a rough trot, is just about to have a slice of good luck.
It's very wide. He's nicked it. He's always dropped it. My goodness, I haven't seen that in years. That was a straightforward catch there to Rodney Marsh. A huge outside edge from a very wide delivery. Have a look at this. Huge edge.
That's a thick edge. That's Rod Marsh usually eats them for breakfast, and we've seen a rare sight there. Rod Marsh dropping a straightforward catch. A bit of luck there for for England. They're now 82 for the loss of 1 wicket.
Jeff Thompson comes in now to bowl to David Gower. It's in the air and just bobs over the top of Alan Border's head there. So another bouncer from Thompson. Not very well played that time by Gower, and he was just a little lucky to get away with it.
Certainly was. Didn't play it very well at all, and Tomo having a few words to say to himself.
Rackerman to Fowler. Oh, good shot. Beautifully played. Cut away to the boundary, the ball racing away down to the backward point fence. So 4 runs to Fowler. Very well played.
Certainly was, Tony. Go so far as to say that this is the most confident shot the young man has played. Beautiful shot. He hit that right off the middle. He got over the top of it. He kept it down. He really gave that a crack.
There's a problem there for Rackerman. He's having a stroll down the ground. He's going to have a chat to Greg Chappell. This is interesting. He seems to be having a glance at the ball for some reason. The other possibility is that he's done something by way of injury. Anyhow, Chappell coming down and rubbing away at his chest there. Rackerman shaking his head. It seems that he might have something wrong with his rib cage. It might have been, Fred, that he's gone and done the little pinch thing in the rib before the match. Of course, he started with the shoulder, but he's coming off the ground.
The last ball of the last over from Thompson, he had a long run down towards mid-on, and he picked the ball up and he turned round and he tried to bowl it back in off balance. He has had shoulder trouble before the season started, we know that, and I just wondered if the young man was off balance when it happened and if he's aggravated that injury again. And he must be a very disappointing young man here in his first test match, having to leave the field possibly injured. We don't know how bad that injury is, of course. We can only tell you what's happening as we see it. We'll endeavour to find out. Greg Ritchie, the young Queenslander, come on as 12th man as his replacement. Now that's not a happy position now for Australia, losing one of their main bowlers. Bruce Yardley will complete the over. The off spinner. That's bad luck for Australia when you think that in the test match at Perth they also lost. Terry Alderman with an unfortunate incident down there. Back to field, not with what we suspected a shoulder injury, but with a growing injury. And that's very unfortunate for the young man in his first test match. Very disappointing.
Well bowled. That one drifting in just a little bit, and that's the end of Yardley's over, or Yardley and Rackerman's over, and the score now 1-4-94. Graham Fowler facing Thompson. The wide ball, and he's nicked it again. He's enjoying playing at that wide one, and that's 4, and as a result, Fowler's 50. Well, he's been just a little bit flirty outside of stump, Fred, but he's got 50.
Yes, the young man, he's had a little bit of luck, and he hasn't had a great tour, but things have been a little bit better for him this match. Now, that's wide. Of course, it turns out to be quite a safe shot with the pace of Thompson, and it's way over his foot. It's not even a chance. It's safe, and that should give him a lot of confidence and make him feel a lot better.
Lawson to Fowler. Beating the gully fielder, Bruce Yardley. And the 50 partnership comes up now for Graham Fowler and David Gower. 1 for 106. Now, Jeff Lawson's going to bowl from the Vulture Street end. We're talking about the footmarks. We're going to try and show you this over, just how those footmarks are made. Now, that was Lawson from the back view. Let's see if we can pick up what he does with his feet. And in fact, Robin Baylash is just having a word with him to tell him to keep off the pitch.
Here we see, that's the Whibbery stride.
then it's the follow-through. Not so much that first one, but then the second one. Down it comes. You can see that rough. It's really scuffed up there now. And that's the second mark, that the second follow-through step. That's the one that's going to create the problem, not only for the English batsmen, but also for the Australian batsmen in their second innings.
Jeff Lawson coming in now to David Garr. The shot before. Beautiful stroke that. Garr's been flashing away outside the off stump on a number of occasions this morning, but that was a delightful stroke. Well over the top of it.
This man, when he goes, he really goes, and doesn't put much into the shot, but as you say, in this particular instance, back with the back foot, right over the ball, and lovely, elegant style. When he's going, he's an absolute delight to watch.
Yardley to Garr. Good shot. Outfield's quick today. No chance of cutting that off. Good boundary to David Garr. Lawson to Fowler.
Once more, Fowler slashing the ball away over the gully field and into the third man boundary. That takes England to just the same score as the lead. Good delivery there from Lawson. Quite a bit of cut from the wicket.
A smile on Fowler's face. Oh dear, he must be saying all his Christmases are coming at once. He plays and misses yet again outside the off stump. Fowler thinks it's funny, but Lawson thinks it's less than funny.
Once again, Fowler slashing through the gully, and another 4 runs takes him along to 64.
Well, you know, Lawson can't believe this, because you have the situation arising where Fowler is playing and missing, and the next one he hits in the middle of the bat. It goes straight between the gap between third slip and gully, and another 4 runs come up.
So Fowler on 65, Gower 25, and a very valuable partnership for England, taking the total from 54. Partnership of 75 runs between these two players. Fine drive from Fowler. Certainly when he goes for his shots, hits the ball particularly well. The outfield is a lot faster today. Takes him to 69.
Jeff Thompson comes in now to bowl to David Garr.
David Garr slapping that one over the top of cover. There's plenty of boundaries here for the two left-handers.
Strange player, David Garr. The ball short and wide, giving him lots of room, and he's quite fearless in going for that stroke. It was completely unorthodox. It was more like a square cut. But in fact, he hit it in front of square, and it went through the covers, as Ian Chappell said.
Again, Gower being quite prepared to lock that ball over the cover point area. Picks himself up another boundary, and that takes England to 1 for 142. Gower attempting to hook. There's a big appeal, and Gower is on his way. Finally, the Australians have accepted a chance, and finally Jeff Thompson gets the wicket that he deserves so much.
I think what you said then's very, very true. He deserved that wicket so much. He's bowled beautifully, and just deserts. The ball's taken the glove. He's gone through, and Rod Marsh has completed the catch. Well, that'll make them very happy. Maybe that's the change of luck that they will need to now change the whole run of the match. Sometimes you just need one little move like that, and you're away.
2 for 144.
Just past debut in 1982. Test debut, sorry. He's had played 8 matches, 14 innings, 1 not out, as Thompson comes into bowl.
Lamb off the mark. Lawson at fine legs does the fielding.
Bruce Yardley to Alan Lamb.
Lamb getting that one away, and he's got it past Dyson. Very short boundary up there on the offside. And the ball really running very quickly now at the Gabba ground. Lamb's first movement was to come down the track there, but then sighting the ball, pitching a bit shorter, came onto the back foot and cut it away through the offside.
Yardley to Fowler.
Looking better, and that one's in the air and turned quite dramatically. For a second I thought he might have edged it. Chappell took it very well, but still a lot of turn in the rough.
It's well flighted, and Graham Fowler coming forward. I think probably, I thought it for a moment it may have hit the pad, but that did turn quite appreciably out of that rough. Good take by Greg Chappell at first slip. Certainly saved 4 buys.
Lawson to Fowler.
Oh, that's a beautiful delivery. That one's nipping away off the seam, pitched just outside off stump and zipping away towards the slips.
Graham Fowler had a lot of problems outside that off stump. Sparred it quite a few. That was a magnificent delivery. Pitched, cut away. Practically an unplayable ball.
Jeff Thompson from the Vulture Street end. Alan Lamb is taking straight.
Straight away, a bouncer from Thompson. Oh, and he's gone. That's a fabulous catch. Just a little lucky there, but it went straight into the lap of Kepler-Wessels, the forward short leg. Well, that's the breakthrough they wanted. Lamb has played very well in the series. An inside edge there as he tried to turn it away on the leg side, straight into the lap of Kepler-Wessels. And isn't he featuring in this match?
He sure is, and let's watch this catch. It's a beautiful reflex catch. It actually went in, popped out a bit, and he took it in the end with ease. Straight in, popped a bit, had a bit of a look, and he grabbed again, and that's the end of Lamb. Score is 3 for 165.
35 test matches and scored 1,700 runs. 500s in test cricket and 850s, so Randall has had a sort of up and down career. Been in and out the side quite a lot. But he's played very well keeping this tour so far.
He certainly has, and going into that first test match, got a 90 over in Western Australia against the Western Australians and played very well, and since then has never looked back. In fact, even in this England, in the England first innings, ran out of partners at the end.
Face of the bat opened there. Very nice touch from Randall, just opening the face and running it down to the vacant third man area.
Jeff Thompson to Derek Randall. Oh, goodness me. What a marvellous catch. Well, no wonder Jeff Thompson's looking pleased, because they've put down a couple of catches not as difficult as that. Bruce Yardley, fine bowler, useful late order batsman, and what a brilliant gully field he is.
Short delivery. Randall failing to keep it down. Yardley pulling off a magnificent catch there. That really was. They say catches win matches, and that was absolutely magnificent the way he took that. England now lost their 4th wicket for 169.
Thompson to Fowler. Good shot. There's a man out of deep square. He's got no chance. Lawson comes in to Fowler. And Marsh is in trouble there again. That's the same sort of thing that happened to him when he dropped that catch earlier in the day.
Just the ball popping out there. Poor old Rod. Having quite as good a day as we come to expect from him. But usually he's so safe.
Lawson to Botham.
In Botham letting out a bit of shaft here. Jeff Thompson on this occasion is the man who dropped the catch. The man who had so much bad luck when he was bowling on this occasion makes the mistake.
Lawson cannot believe it. He's had the worst of all possible luck this second English innings. As Botham plays that slashing square cut, and Thompson gets his hands to it, low down. It's a difficult catch because he was moving. He got his hands to it. He should have hung on to it. And that's the second catch in this game that Thompson has missed. Oh, dear, what a miss that could be, too. Botham is the man that Australia desperately want to get rid of. He's the man who can change the face of a test match in the space of a couple of hours.
Botham goes for the hook shot. He times it so well that he beats the two men who are placed out on the boundary for that hook shot.
That's what can happen when you miss Ian Botham. He seems to gain confidence out of the opposition's mistakes. And here he is, hooking ferociously there, and he really hit that extremely hard. And then at deep fine leg hadn't very far to go, but Ritchie had no hope of cutting that off.
Thompson to Fowler.
Good delivery there from Thompson. There's a strong appeal, and Jeff Thompson has picked up another wicket. Once again, Rodney Marsh is the man who has done the catching. That ends a very good innings from Graham Fowler.
It had to come, and Thompson deserves it. Fowler's edge has been almost uncannily evasive in this innings of his. This time, however, he does hit the ball, and Marsh is there behind the stump to take that fine deflection. So Graham Fowler fails to top his highest score of 86. He's out for 83, 5 to 194.
Here from Jeff Miller. Timed that shot to perfection.
Just thinking a bit more about what you were saying before, Ian, about who should take the new ball. Maybe the more you think about it, the more chance there is that Greg, if his neck's okay, or Hooks might take it. Because these two guys, Lawson and Thompson, both operate very well with the wind when they're not sitting on a picket fence. I mean, they operate very, very well with the wind.
That's a good delivery. He's got to be on his way, and he is. A tremendous delivery there from Jeff Thompson, cutting back at Botham, and once again, the Thompson-Marsh combination has struck, and what a blow that is for Australia.
Well, Thompson certainly bowled beautifully in this spell. If you watch this ball, it's short of a length again. Botham's gone to cut. It's too close to his body. And all he's ended up doing is loving it to Rod Marsh, who's pretty happy about that one again. Score 6 for 201.
Thompson to Miller.
Well, it's in the air, it's high up. Is Vessel's going to get it? He may do. He's looked down. He's dropped it. Well, that's the first time that Kepler Wessels in this match has put his foot wrong. Marsh wasn't far behind him.
Wasn't a very good shot from Jeff Miller, but Kepler Wessels just took his eye off and then tried to pick it up again.
Luckily for England, it's still 6 down for 226. Another catch down. That's in the air and it's out. Foot slip. Taylor's walking. The umpire doesn't have to make a decision. That's a good catch by David Hooks there. Lawson tempting Taylor outside the off stump. He nicked it, and a well-caught catch.
Ball pitched well up. Just having to the David Hooks who picked up that catch. The second wicket for Lawson. England now 7 for 226.
Thompson to Miller.
Miller certainly not enjoying the torrid time that Thompson's giving him out there.
And that certainly hurt Jeff Miller in the lower part of the tummy region there.
Lawson to Eddie Hemmings. That's close, but it's off the pad. It's not close for a catch, but it must have been very close for LBW. Hemmings has the habit of going right across his stumps. It's 7 for 235. Chapel bowls now to Jeff Miller. A lovely shot. Playing a valuable hand, Jeff Miller. Difficult man to get rid of. And he's had to wait a long time
to be able to play this scoring shot. The elegant cover drive, one that was slightly overpitched by Greg Chappell.
So Yardley to bowl the 107th over. And Jeff Miller getting that one away. That'll be the first boundary for some time.
First boundary for 10 overs, signalled by umpire Mel Johnson. And Miller showing his strength in that area there, just square of the wicket, drawing away slightly as that ball turned into him and getting it away through the point region.
This is the 86th over of the day. That's the reason why we're still here after 6 o'clock. David Hooks bowling to Jeff Miller. A good delivery, that, from David Hooks. It's the new rule in Test cricket, says you've got to bowl 90 overs in a day. There are certain times deducted because of loss of wickets. There you see David Hooks with a well-pitched wrong enough.
It seems to be mostly bowling wrong-uns. And that's the 50 to Jeff Miller. Dropped when he was 20, and that was a costly miss. Difficult chance to mid-wicket off Lawson.
David Hooks bowls to Eddie Hemmings.
Bruce Yardley at point, and the players have decided that that's it.
7 for 279 at the close of play on this fourth day. A fine effort from England. At one stage they were in awful trouble, but they were saved by Jeff Miller with that unbeaten half-century. A very good innings that. And Eddie Hemmings, a tail-ender, but he has made a first-class century, and today he did all the right things out there in that partnership with Miller that already has produced 53 runs. There are 47 extras, most of them no balls in that total of 279. And a plus mark for Graham Fowler, who made that splendid 83 in the face of some excellent Australian bowling. Thompson 5 for 73, Jeff Lawson 2 for 66. Yardley didn't take a wicket, none for 46 from 34 overs, but he did a very good containing job at the Stanley Street end, wheeling away there for most of the day. I wish one could say the same about the Australian fielding, but I'm afraid they put down 7 catches today, and did in the first innings. Well, the lead is 157 now, and if England make another 50, then it will be very interesting. I would anticipate that if they could do been added this morning, it's 7 for 285, and in the commentary box with Tony Greig is Fred Truman.
Oh, that's an inside edge onto the pad. Straight away a shake of the head there from umpire Baylash. That would have been very adjacent had he not nicked it.
He's on the back foot before the ball's delivered. Thick inside edge. No chance on LBW there. It was a good job he got a piece of wood on it, else I think the lot would have gone over.
Oh, that's hit the stumps. Off the pad onto the stumps, and so Eddie Hemmings is out, and that's a big breakthrough for Australia. Lawson keeping the ball well pitched up. Hemmings trying to flick it on the leg side, and the ball bounding off his pad onto the leg stump, it seemed.
But it looked like Tony, he's got well across. And it's just hit it onto the pad. Very unfortunate, and it's rolled down onto his leg stump. But that's England's 8th wicket down. They're 285 for 8.
Lawson from the Vulture Street end, bowling to Jeff Miller.
That's off the pad and racing away down to the fine leg boundary. That's 4-leg buys. Or is he giving it runs? It's runs. And so must have been a little bit of bat involved in that one.
I think he got the inside edge on this because it went a long way. Well wide of Rodney Marsh, and Rodney has been getting over there very well indeed. You see how wide he got there. And it still went on for 4. Taking England's total to 292. Lead now 170.
Oh, that must be out. Oh, it must have been close. Perhaps it was another fine edge, because that really was pretty adjacent and the batsman wasn't forward.
Good delivery from Lawson here. Thick inside edge from Jeff Miller, actually. That's the only thing that saved him.
Oh, well bowled, and there's a big appeal there for caught behind. It's given him out. Miller stood his ground. Marsh taking a catch there above his head. That was a fine delivery from Jeff Lawson. It'd be very interesting to have a look at the replay. But a beautiful line, and the nick from Miller, who's out now, caught behind.
Here we see it again now. This ball bounced. Really bounced. Jeff Miller tried to draw away from that bounce in delivery. And that's England's 9th wicket down for 295.
Marsh, who's behind the stumps there, waiting for an edge, has taken 5 catches in this innings. He's got one more to take. If he takes the last one, then he will equal Wally Grout's record for the most dismissals in a test innings for Australia. That record is 6. Of course, the world record is 7, held by Wasim Bari and Bob Taylor.
That's down the ground. It's gone miles in the air, and Dyson's coming around. Will he catch it? He might. He will. He has. He's dropped it. Oh, my goodness. He made a lot of ground there, and that went miles in the air. He made a lot of ground, got his hand to it eventually, and that's very unlike John Dyson. We've seen him take some great catches in the outfield.
Well, when I saw John Dyson running for that, I thought that's the end of England's innings, because he made a lot of ground, and then he got there. He judged it very well indeed. He got there, and it went through his hands and onto the ground.
Jeff Lawson now, and Bob Willis is taking straight.
In down the leg side, it's going racing away down to the boundary. Thompson comes in, puts a boot in, and doesn't manage to get it. So 4 more runs. That's an inside edge there to Bob Willis. Very useful 4. Twice now the ball is scooted away from the leg side. 4.
Rod Marsh not able to get to it this time. 302 now, England. Their lead gone up to 180.
Lawson bowling to Cowans.
Oh, and that was then there's a big appeal there for caught behind. He's given him out. Cowans can't believe it. He doesn't think he hit that one. A huge appeal from behind the wicket, and Rod Marsh has equalled the Australian record for dismissals in an innings. That record held by Wally Grout, and Rod Marsh equals it. And so Cowans on his way back to the pavilion with Willis, and this is how it happened.
An attempt to bounce there. And they went up for the catch, and the umpire, Dale Ash, says that is out, and it gives Rod Marsh his 6th catch and equals the Australian wicket-keeping record of 6. Here we see the bouncer again.
That didn't look as if it got anywhere near his bat. His bat was way away from that ball. Marsh is obviously thrown up in the air. He's been given out, so that's the end of that. But doesn't surprise me at all that Cowans looked a bit surprised. It didn't look as if he got anywhere near it.
England all out for 309.
Performance this morning, a quick end to the England innings, which finished up at 309. Jeff Miller, 60. Eddie Hemmings, 18, no addition to his score from overnight. And Bob Willis not out 10, fighting hard there, but not able to have anyone stay with him. Rodney Marsh has finished up with 9 catches in the match, in this Gabba Test match, and a fine performance from him. He's equalled Gil Langley's record, which has stood since 1956. The bowling figures for Australia, 2 men with 5 wickets. Jeff Thompson, 5 for 73, bowled superbly yesterday, and Lawson today improved his figures from 2 to 5 and had 87 runs taken from him. We pick up play now in the Australian innings. Just 1 run on the board. Kepler Wessels is the batsman. Bob Willis is coming in to bowl to him. And with me in the commentary box is Keith Stackpole.
Bob Willis in the Australian first innings had that tendency to overstride with the new ball. When he came back later on in the Australian innings, hardly encroached over that line at all.
Don't think Fowler is going to be very pleased, and I'm certain his captain's not. He gave such a marvellous exhibition of fielding in the first innings.
Kepler Wessels 162 in the first innings, and another ounce of luck for him. Bowling straight out to Graham Fowler in the covers, a routine catch. Australia could have quite easily have been 1 for none, and certainly this test match certainly be remembered for the amount of catches that have gone begging.
Botham to Kepler Wessels. I think we'll see some spirited appealing out there today too. A lot of tension out on the ground at the moment.
Very good appeal by Ian Botham. The ball did keep low. Kepler Wessels on that front foot. We've just missed off stump. Getting back to those figures of Kepler Wessels. Could have quite easily have batted through that first innings, last man out. So just a solitary innings in Test cricket for him. And this is a Test match, certainly, that he'll remember. A couple of great catches, one to dismiss David Gower in the first innings, Alan Lamb in the second.
That's a good shot. It's his best piece of timing for the morning, and 4 runs. I estimate, Keith, we're only talking approximately, that if the Australians were to bat out their full time, they'd need to score at 40 runs per 100 balls, which is quite a brisk rate. I bet your life there'll be a certain amount of defensive field planning later on, although in Bob Willis's mind must be the fact that he has to bowl the Australians out. They probably will get the runs if the game goes to full time, so it's wickets he needs more than anything else. John Dyson now, and he faces Bob Willis.
Awkwardly played by John Dyson. We see him go down in genuflect type fashion. Down goes that back leg and succeeded in dropping the bat. An opening batsman didn't look all that competent in playing that short one from Bob Willis. He's very keen to get on the front foot. I saw him cut a similar delivery in the first over that he faced from Bob Willis. But Kepler Wessels down there now, just having a consoling word to John Dyson. Just take your time, a few deep breaths, get in behind it, and let's be there at lunch. The Australians just asking the Australian masseur perhaps to come out with a spray there. Nasty whack, that one, right on the point of the shoulder to John Dyson. Let's have another look at that nasty whack that John Dyson collected right on the point of the shoulder there. Took his eye off it a little. Bob Willis always has that tendency to come in off the wicket. Very awkwardly played by John Dyson. Australians team's physiotherapist, Fergus Nelson, and it looks as though John Dyson may be going off, which seems a strange move to me. Unless it's a broken finger or that, I always like to see an opening batsman fight it out. I'd like to see a bit of consultation with Greg Chappell, perhaps, with John Dyson. Just walking off the ground.
Botham to Kepler Wessels.
Wessels in tremendous form. Really taking full toll of that half volley from Ian Botham.
Wessels is starting exactly where he left off in the first innings, because that 162 finished up with Wessels driving extremely well through the covers. In the early part of his innings, he was content to nudge and deflect the cricket bowlers square of the wicket. But later on, he drove with tremendous power. And obviously, he's doing the same thing now. And the England bowlers, I think, trying to pitch the ball up in line with Wessels' middle and leg stump.
Ian Botham coming into border.
Bouncer, and that's well hooked right off the middle of the bat. Australia really on top of this English attack at the moment as they race to the score of 41.
On border now, has passed that milestone. 1,000 runs in tests against England. Tremendous record. A man who has not been all that long in test cricket, but in that time has shown himself to be one of the most competent players around. Now he is taking 4 off Botham.
He goes over the top. Slightly more risky shot, but it brings the same result on the scorecard.
That stroke went straight over the top of Chris Cavalier at second slip. He was hit
with a fairly substantial edge, and Tavares there leaping up, unable to get a finger to it. Interesting tactics, these, because it shows that Australia are not going on the defensive. They're not going to eke out the runs. They're going to get them in the best possible way.
Both them to Vessels.
Magnificent shot from Vessels. Good placement, good timing. Absolutely races away to the boundary.
Well, that just shows you what happens when you give Kepler Vessels room to play outside your stump. There was enough room there for him to bring that favourite square cut of his into play. It's just an indication, really, that to him you cannot bowl so wide. You must really keep it close to him.
And Vessels is now 60, so an excellent start by the Australians. 128 needed for victory, only 14 overs been bowled. Dennis Hemmings. Oh, what a great catch. Brilliantly caught there. Ian Botham diving away to his left. That was a sensational catch. Border attempting a drive to a ball pitched in the rough just outside off stump. A very sharp chance and a magnificent catch. Well, a dream beginning for England after lunch. They battled before lunch. No avail. Alan Border not wasting any time about having a look. He was after that ball from Hemmings. Pitched in the rough. Spun away, and a great catch by Ian Botham. Always a difficult catch to take off the spinner, particularly the one where the edge is laid very heavily on it. But look at that for reflex, and a great catch by Ian Botham. He won our Catch of the Year 2 years ago, and that then certainly catch that could get into classic catches. And Australia now 1 for 60. I don't think any of us like to see a cricketer struggling for form, and Norman Cowan certainly in Australia's first innings really battled. Came out here with the reputation of having a bit of pace and England attack. He was going to play a big part in that as the series went, but in Perth he struggled, and they re-included him into this match for this test match, and didn't have a very big opportunity in that Australian first innings. But this over, it's quite promising. It's in the air, and oh my goodness, the catching in this match has been hopeless. Look at Cowans. I mean, would you blame him? He hasn't got a test wicket yet. And that one went straight between Miller and Tavares. I think Tavares, in fact, should have caught it. Yes, a routiner, Tony, if there can be considered one, and he let it go through. It's about shoulder high, and certainly young Norman Cowans. Just have a look on this follow-through. See if we can get him in the picture. That one sneaking through, and look at poor old Norman Cowans. He couldn't believe it.
Hemmings to Chappell.
An attacking fielding position now, and this could be close. A run out. Is he out? Is he out? Twice run out. No, he's not. Hands up all over the place there. That must have been pretty close. Remember, Greg Chappell was out, run out with Vessels. In the first innings, my goodness, I reckon he's miles out. Well, he's pretty lucky.
Norman Cowans, a short time ago, almost had Greg Chappell hooking. Here he is again from the Vulture Street end.
Bouncer, it's in the air again, this time straight down Lab's throat. He's gone. Chappell out hooking. Cowans has got his first wicket, and the Englishman rushing around him. He's a happy man, I tell you. And especially in view of the fact that he's got Greg Chappell out, because he's suffered at the hands of Greg Chappell just a little bit this season.
It's a fair scalp. Fair scalp for his first test wicket. In years to come, of course, he'll be able to say that my first ever test wicket was the great Greg Chappell. A straightforward catch. Lamb redeemed for perhaps not going for the last one. Same sort of shot, straight down his throat, and he swallowed it. And of course, that leaves Australia at 2 for 77.
Cowans coming in now to Vessels.
Oh, and it's through him again, and Vessels once again beaten by that straight delivery. Well, if this isn't a message for England, then I don't know what is. The only time he's looked in trouble. How did that miss the stumps? Must have just flipped over the top of that bail. Not only missing the edge, but also over the top of those stumps. A beautiful ball from Norman Cowans.
Eddie Hemmings has been trying to bowl left-hander Kepler Vessels behind his pads from the Stanley Street end. Here he is again now, coming into bowl to the Australian opener. And he's got him. He's tried for that. He's come around the wicket for the left-hander Kepler Vessels. It's been a well-planned move. and he's bowled him behind his pads. Very, very good thinking that from Eddie Hemmings. They set it up, and Kepler Wessels fell for it.
And for the sweep. Swing round behind his legs and hitting the off-stumping finish. Turned a long way. So that's the third wicket down for Australia, 83.
Willis to David Hooks. Dealt with that full toss with perfect safety and marvellous timing.
Doesn't want to be bowling many of those with those few runs to play with. Nice juicy full toss, and David Hooks says, "That's kind, thank you so much." Bang, 4 runs. The moment it left the bat.
Botham to Hughes.
Right arm over the wicket.
It's in the air. What a goal. He's dropped it. Yes, he's dropped it. He had it in his hand. He rolled over on his back. The ball seemed to sit on his chest for a second or two and then roll off onto the ground. A good effort by Tavares, but a drop catch.
That's a good effort. I thought he had it in one hand and he tried to put his other hand onto it, and then when he did that, to knock it out, and it rolled off his chest. That would have been a great breakthrough for England. I thought he had it in one hand, but
Australian innings was away, and David Hooks and Kim Hughes have just taken along rather nicely since then, and now they've got an 80-run partnership together.
To David Hooks, and that's a good innings. Coming in when wickets had fallen early on. 3 for 83. He's listed at number 6. Came in at 3 for 83. Dyson having retired hurt, and now he's made a very good half-century. That's fine enough to beat Hemmings, who's done a long stint with the ball and really has no chance of cutting that off. 3 for 171, 4 leg byes there. Go on to the total. David Hooks has made over 750 runs in first-class cricket this year, and we're only up to December the 1st. Quite an extraordinary performance. Long way to go in Sheffield Shield matches and Test matches. And not all the tests will clash with the South Australian Shield game. So he has a chance of setting some really good figures by the end of the summer. It almost worked. I've seen both of them do that. Well, he does it occasionally, and it always has that sense of surprise as far as the batsman's concerned. A funny little run in, a round arm. In that case, it found the edge and then went through Tavares' legs.
The Thompson-type delivery from Ian Botham, and Chris Tavares having a nightmare for the job at second slip. Ian Botham cannot believe another one getting through the hands of slip. What he was more concerned with there was the 4 runs that came the way of David Hooks. So Australia now speeding towards victory. 13 runs needed.
Botham's shout there was catch it. Was just wide of Bob Taylor. Both of them set Hooks up there with that funny delivery of the ball before. It was almost predictable the next one would be a bouncer. Hooks went for it and just out of Bob Taylor's reach.
It certainly was, and Ian Botham, what a competitor. Even Australia staring victory straight in the face, he's still out there trying like anything. Still thinking, still throwing a lot of effort into his bowling. And 3 boundaries coming from this over. 4 leg byes and 2 off the back.
Hemmings. Just 9. Well, the 5 needed to win now. Here's Ian Botham now, and Kim Hughes is taking strike. That'll be 4 runs. That's the winning hit. Signalled for by umpire Balash. 190 for 3 wickets, Australia. A great test match then, and a great win to Australia by 7 wickets. They almost threw it away when they dropped 7 catches in England's second innings. They recovered, and then that partnership between David Hooks and Kim Hughes of 107 saw them through to the end, 3 for 190 at the close of play. The only England bowler who got any joy out of the pitch was Eddie Hemmings. He didn't have a boundary taken from him in all the time he bowled through in those 29 overs. A fine performance from him, but not one actually backed up again in the field by England, although their catching, if anything, was a little better than the Australians all the way through. A match of records and statistics because Geoff Lawson became the first bowler to take 11 wickets at the Gabba in an Anglo-Australian test. You had Kepler Wessel scoring 208 runs in the match, the most by an Australian debutant, and then you had the most extras in an innings in Australia in a test match, and the most no balls, and that's not much of a statistic because there were 84 bowled there. But Rodney Marsh came good to save the day with the equalling of 2 records, Wally Grout's and Gil Langley's, and then he established one of his own with 9 catches in the test. The third test then comes up at Adelaide on December 10. It should be a fine game, so it follows the pattern of the first 2. Lots of excitement in this one at the Gabba. The Australians on top and winning by 7 wickets.